Hello everybody. Hey, I'm going to answer a question that I get asked all the time. Why do I fly airplanes and what do I like about it? I'm going to give you a little personal history about it. I'm going to tell you how I crashed in my very first airplane flight. That's right. Anyway, hopefully this will answer some of those questions that everybody asks. So my history of flying goes way back. It started when I was really young. When I was about 12 years old, well actually 11, I had won the state trap shooting championship in Nevada. So I could shoot a shotgun well. And a local sheep herder named Jerry Lancaster had a small Super Cub. And during lambing season, these coyotes would come in and kill his lambs. And so he had this idea to put me in the back of the airplane at 12 years old, and we would fly around and shoot these coyotes off of the sheep. I would be shooting a shotgun out of the airplane. There was a very narrow angle you could shoot through. There was basically a strut and the prop, and I had to shoot right there. And we would fly around and we'd shoot coyotes off of the sheep and save a bunch of lambs. And that was my introduction to aviation, and it was my new passion. I loved swooping in like a fighter pilot, chasing these coyotes off of the sheep and such, and I always wanted to fly. And finally, in 2001, I started flying, and my flight instructor was Paul Dixon. He is a wonderful man, Paul and Kelly Dixon. I love them to pieces. Paul is a trainer out at the United Center here. Has flown just about every jet you can imagine, all the way down to small airplanes. He has an incredible passion, and Paul reinforced that passion in me. He started teaching me how to fly. I got a 1961 72. And here's what happened. I wanted to learn to fly. The price of renting an airplane was very expensive, so I decided I was going to buy an older airplane and learn in it. So I was kind of building equity in the airplane. And one day I hired an instructor, and I'll save you the details of the long story, but basically I was working a hospital shift and a clerk told me that they were a flight instructor. And I did no further research and said, great, can you meet me there tomorrow? I've got a new airplane that just showed up today and I want to learn to fly. He goes, great, I'll see you in the morning. And on my introductory flight, we crashed. We were coming in for a landing and the airplane was kind of going sideways and we weren't lining up well. And we ended up stalling the airplane out and hitting the nose and then the wing of the airplane. And literally, I had been on my first flight in the airplane and it was totaled. So that was my introduction to aviation. Now they say you only get one crash in aviation, so I have mine behind me. And that's how things got rolling for me. But ever since that day, I've still loved it. I picked it up the very next day or immediately thereafter, as soon as I could start renting airplanes, I guess at that point, and started flying. And one of the biggest reasons I love flying is, to me, I get to see the beauty of God's creation. You may have heard me say this on prior videos before, but I've literally been flying before alone on my own. And when you talk in a airplane mic on your headset, it'll key it to sound. And I've literally keyed the mic not knowing it because I'm flying along myself. I go, my God, like just looking down and seeing the incredible beauty. The state of Colorado, when the seasons change, when the leaves change, and at different times when there's snow up there or when things are just breaking green in the spring, things you see from the air that you're not really aware of. Between flying from here to my Arizona office, for example, there's a couple areas where meteors or asteroids or whatever they are have hit out there and they've splashed up dirt and earth and made these huge massive pits. And from the air you can see and appreciate this, and it's pretty incredible. So anyway, I really love just experiencing that. And so much so that, and I reflect so deeply sometimes when I'm doing this, that it's really weird. I'll climb into the airplane to go on a flight and I'll have all these things on my mind as I'm driving to the airport and things I have to do and things that are important. And I'll get in the airplane and without even realizing it, there's just this perfect peace, this perfect calm. And how I know is because after I land, sometimes even while I'm taxiing in, I feel it all go whew, like all back to me. I feel it all come back on. And so that's the level of peace I get when I'm up there. Another thing I like about flying is I like the challenge. I've always liked learning. Obviously, I love intellectual learning and the challenge of that. I've also always liked physical things. I've done various sports and I always try to stay very active and athletic type things. And this is the perfect combo to me of that kind of mental and physical flying an airplane. Yeah, you gotta have to be coordinated enough to work all the controls, and you can continually improve and get better and better. And at the same time, the mental aspect of learning all the rules to become a pilot in different airspaces and radio communications and traffic, and almost just kind of a common sense awareness you begin to develop, and pilots call it situational awareness. That to me is intriguing, a challenge, and something that brings me back. Every flight is new in every single way from that perspective. Another thing I love about aviation is the multitasking. I've always enjoyed getting a lot done, and I always have to-do lists every day. I really like that feeling of accomplishment, and aviation is really a culmination of multitasking every time you're in the airplane. You're getting a call from maybe Denver International Airport is calling me as I'm taking off. I'm switching from tower to DIA. I'm getting assigned a heading and an altitude. At the same time I'm getting that, they're telling me to watch for traffic off to my left. Maybe one of my radars inside the airplane is telling me of an airplane that's very close to me. And this multitasking to me is not only a challenge, but it's become almost comforting in a way. I think it teaches self-discipline. I think it teaches focus. And I love that. I'm feeling like I'm almost doing my to-do list for the day, otherwise be deemed a simple takeoff and landing. Another thing about aviation that's really phenomenal is the aviation community. My wife kind of jokes. She says, if we go to a dinner party and there's 2,000 people in a room, if there's another pilot, that person and myself will find each other. And that's really how pilots are. The whole, saying birds of a feather flock together probably doesn't hold truer to any group of people as pilots. We all have this passion and we always have something to talk about with regard to airplanes. And it's always a joy to sit and talk with another pilot and share war stories and talk about future dreams. And they just tend to be my kind of people. So I really, really enjoy the aviation community. Again, great people and passionate. And then I would say probably one of the last things in aviation that is a real surprising benefit to me has been the work benefits. It has benefited Ramos Law and our company so greatly by me being a pilot and by having other pilots here, for example, not to mention our aviation division where we take care of a lot of pilots, but also it makes the entire country accessible. We're licensed as attorneys here at Ramos Law in over 26 states, and we have cases in most of them. And we can be there like that. If someone has a catastrophic injury or an event take place or there's a hearing, we can be there just like that. Myself and Joe LaRusso have done cases in Idaho. We recently flew out with a team to Tennessee where we did an accident investigation. Actually, that was on an airplane crash. I've flown to Virginia and signed up clients before. It really expands the borders of our business and it makes it instantly accessible. It's also been a real benefit, for example, for flying our teams down to the Arizona office. I can load up several of our team members and we can be in Phoenix in 2 hours there with our team. And that is incredible. It allows you to be far but near, and aviation is really is just a blessing in that regard. So those are some of the reasons that I love aviation, that I love airplanes. I know that people have asked before how long I've been flying. Again, I started in 2001. Asked why I enjoy it. I hope these things answer that. If you have any comments or questions, or you have a question for me about flying, please send it in. I love to answer questions, and hopefully something here has triggered your interest in flying. Thank you.